Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and I help people navigate through their ascension process. So today, I'm going to talk about Mercury Retrograde. If you guys aren't familiar with what that is, I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, rather the effects of it and my own perspective. But essentially, it's a time where the astrology sort of imposes its will in the lives of everybody. Take that for what you will, but it can cause, there's a lot of associations with this particular astrological alignment, Mercury retrograde. And some of the popular ideas is that it can cause communication to sort of become challenging, and you might miss a meeting or something randomly. Maybe you thought you put something in your schedule and then it's just gone for some reason. That happened to me today. I know I put that in there, but it's gone. You know, little stuff like communication can get distorted. Sometimes you might say something and you think to you, you're not like, you think you're clear about what you're saying and how you're saying it, but the person gets like totally the wrong idea and you didn't really mean to, it just happened. So communication can be a little bit off. Another thing that is maybe even more noticeable, rather than like the finicky communication issues, is that it seems like life stops. You might have been sort of blasting forward with some way blasting forward in life, in your own growth, with a new job or new business or something new you've been doing, and all of a sudden you feel like you hit like a brick wall and you come to a screeching halt, and now you realize that you made a bunch of mistakes along the way, and now it's just about going back and cleaning all that mess up. So when viewed from a negative perspective, which is what I always read. In fact, I went online today just to, come on buddy, my little dog, she's tired. I went online today to kind of check the dates, because somebody was asking me about, a couple people recently asked me about Mercury retrograde, and I wanted to make sure that I had the dates right, if this was a retrograde period. I don't even follow astrology all that much, but I just happened to catch an article about it, and it was so like negative and fear-based, and that's all I've ever seen when it comes to Mercury retrograde is, oh, here's how you survive it. These are the things you got to watch out for. Don't do this during this period. And it's so fear-based, man. And I can see where people would gather that conclusion, because looked at from a particular perspective, those things I mentioned, in a sense, can be seen as negative. But I have chosen to have a very alternate perspective on this, and I honestly look forward, not like I don't lose sleep, like I'm excited like for the Christmas presents in the morning. I'm not that excited, but I really don't mind and embrace. I genuinely now embrace Mercury retrograde because I see the benefits it has. I see that we go through life so fast sometimes that we do make mistakes. We are a little bit sloppy at times, and that's not to bash ourselves. Life moves very fast and we do the best we can, but we're not perfect. So sometimes when the energies are there to kind of support us in going back through things, it's a good thing. We get to kind of look at all the areas that we might have glossed over, and we get to redo them in a way that's better. It's sort of like going back. It's sort of like you're building a house, right? And you just sort of whip through the basement, you whip through the foundation, you're anxious to get to like slapping on the granite countertops, and you're thinking about fireplaces and all that kind of fun stuff. But really it's like sometimes you go down to the basement and you see there's a leak, and the cement is cracking, and the foundation is kind of, it shakes in the wind. And it's like you don't want to just get going too far ahead without having gone and again strengthening your foundation. So the Mercury retrograde period will help you. It'll work with you in strengthening your foundation. And then when it's time to go forward again, which it will, the cycles come and go obviously, then you're going to be going through in a much stronger, more effective, more streamlined, better, more efficient way. So the real issue, the real cause for heartache is the resistance of the ceasing of forward movement to look back and clean up a bunch of messes and spills. Yeah, that's not as fun as blasting forward in a new and exciting project or endeavor or avenue in your life. I agree, but it's it's smart to do this, obviously, for a lot of reasons, as I already mentioned. It's good to do this. There's an overall positive effect. And if you can just embrace that, you can really have a good time. Like me and my wife, I remember one retrograde period, we like redid a bunch of our house. We like painted, and we like gutted the counter. We like totally transformed our living room and kitchen and bathroom. We like totally went to town on it and made it better. And we were able to get so much done because, again, the energies were supportive of this kind of thing. They weren't supportive of looking at new houses. They were supportive of redoing the house we had. And it just went very smoothly. And it was actually a lot of fun. Painting sucks. Most people know that. But at that time, in that period, it was a joy to do. We were listening to music. And again, the energies were in harmony with this. And it just seems like we got a remarkable amount accomplished in a very short amount of time in a fairly joyful way. So that's how I choose to relate with Mercury retrograde. Yeah, you know, again, that's just me, but that works for me. It seems like a better way, obviously, for as I just described, because everything that happens in your life is subject to your own interpretation, and you have the power to define it in any way you want. So this is a kind of a positive spin on the whole retrograde thing. And it works for me. And I believe we're in a retrograde period now. It's like the 10th, I think. Might have happened yesterday. So it's usually about a few weeks long. So again, it's best to be very flexible. Be like water, like Bruce Lee says, and be fluid and roll with the natural characteristics inherent in the energies that are always changing and shifting. Now is not a time to go forward and to make bold new decisions. Generally speaking, not literally, but it's an awesome time to look back at the life you've created and see if you can tweak it and make it a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit more resilient, so that when the energies shift again and you go forward, you're going to be zipping. So that's my spiel on the whole Mercury retrograde. I could keep going on a little bit, but I think I pretty much laid out the whole essence of my philosophy in this regard. So hope you guys enjoyed that. I will speak to you soon. Have an amazing day. Namaste.